Welcome back to another daily recap. Today is Friday, August 30, 2024, 7:53 a.m. Eastern. So just showing you an hourly chart here, just kind of better explain this range. I've been saying that if they get below and close hourly candles below 554 or so, then this is not going to play out to the upside most likely. But generally, a consolidation like this after a bullish run is going to play out to the upside, which means they have to get above 564 or so. The all-time high, I think, is 565.15, 16, something like that. So they're not, haven't hit that point yet. They're kind of constrained by these trend lines. You can sort of see where they came from. Price in the SPY is kind of drawing these trend lines for us, and they're bouncing around. So they're right in the middle. Right now, they're basically at 561 in the pre-market. There's plenty of scalp trades that can be taken in the middle of this range, but the bigger move at some point will be out of this range, up or down. I find it interesting that the last day of this month of August, the last day of the week, of course, today, Friday, we got one more day. Each of these larger time frames, weekly, monthly, daily charts, have very low volume. Nothing like what we had here when pretty big battle and the bulls won, pushed price up back here on August 5th, I think it was. So we don't have anything like that. I mean, it's pretty low. The entire month of August has been pretty sleepy. Anyway, just want to show you the big picture, just to show you that it's kind of inconclusive at this point. Big consolidation for the last several weeks. Anyway, moving on to the levels. That's what matters today. So number of levels, you see where we're at. I put this 558.31, roughly the gap from yesterday. I put it in a lighter blue line. This is just kind of in the middle of this big mess. I mean, I don't know if they're going to come back down here to bounce off this area to launch higher. These other levels are more important. They're more mathematically derived. So we'll come back to this chart after the market closes. So it's about 7:30. I'm traveling, but I found a little bit of time to make this video. If you hear some background noises, I'm just in a kind of interesting location at the moment. But let's talk about what happened today. So interesting day. They did try to get to the all-time highs, as I kind of thought they might, but they didn't make it. They came up a little bit short. But let's talk about how you would have traded these levels. So first of all, coming down into 560.31, this would have been traded at 560.36 at 5 cents. It was after 9:45, so you give market 15 minutes to kind of settle in, and that would have been perfect, but they came up penny short, so you do not want to trust this for a long trade again. I was waiting for this to happen. I'll show it to you in the recording. So nothing. Ready for them to come up here and go short at 562.53, subtract 5 cents from it, but they never got there. And when they did here, it's after the cutoff. It's after 3:30 p.m. So within 30 minutes of the trading day, I don't take trades. So they got below this level, and I'm looking at a few things happening at this point, and I realized that they probably might be going down to this gap. Wasn't sure if I was going to trust the gap, but what I did do here, let's talk about playing by the rules first. This is not a trade here because of a near miss. They got below this. You normally wouldn't do anything here at all, but this level here at 558.31, I wouldn't necessarily adjust this because that's really kind of the gap area. There's no math behind this one. This was definitely a base hit if you chose to trade this one. And then once that level is traded, it's off the table for the rest of the trading day, at least on the long side. And they got up underneath here. There's not enough time for them to, I want to see them under a level more time. And a few other things happening before I'd want to take this for a short trade. Like there's your long bounce, another one, but just one trade is all I typically take at a level on one side of the trade, on one side of the level. The short trade would have normally, could have happened here for a recycle if other things were present. They weren't. And they got back up here. So sort of the same thing here. Like I was gone around 12 o'clock. So I got this. I'll talk about my trades in a minute. So you could have taken a short trade here once they got under this level. There's kind of more indications that they were going to push higher. So I'm not sure I would have taken it, but let's just say you did. Well, I just went ahead and did the math to figure out what that was. So it's 560.31, right? So you would take 5 cents away. So you'd be 560.26. So as soon as the spiders hit that, if you went short, it would have put you out of the money. And by the time you got the signal to reverse this thing, you would have been like 4.5 points out of the money, and then immediately had a base hit as they took off. It was actually somewhere in this neighborhood here. And then they took off after a little bit of a dip. So it would essentially been a wash. Probably smart not to take trade, but if you didn't know, then you could have tried it and then basically ended with a wash. Gave away 4.5 points, gained 4 points or more as they climbed up. And then this last level here, they never hit it before. So is it valid for a trade? Well, typically it would be, but it was 3:51 p.m. I'm not going to take any trade after 3:30, or not enter a new trade after 3:30. So I want to talk about what I did, because the video kind of cut short. Like I said, I left the office at 12 o'clock. So did not take this trade here. I'll show you how it came up close, and I just had an order, but I canceled it. Had an order up here, ended up canceling this because they never hit this level. But when they got below this level and started closing some candles below it, a few other things happened. I just jumped on and went short and rode this thing all the way down. Jumped out right before they got to this gap. Did not take this trade. Tested out to see if they would have done it while I was just kind of waiting around. Looking at the market before I packed up and left, and sure enough, that was a bounce. But I already explained everything else. So really, I just got this one little trade. Well, it wasn't a bad trade, $700. I'll show it to you. But I did not take the base hit. So playing by the rules, you would have really just had one base hit, possibly attempt over here, which would have been a wash. So, but we'll talk about that when we get to the tracking log. So here's my trades. I'm going to start this. It's 9:49 a.m. when this starts. I'm getting ready to key the order in to go long here. So let's see if I can play this. Pause it. Here we go. So I'm keying in if SPY is less than or equal to 560.36. Then I'm going to buy a few contracts at the market in the futures. And when they came up close and pulled away, I just made this line dashed, canceled the order, said, okay, I'm not going to trust it anymore. I'm not going to trust this level anymore. And that was the right decision, because you'll see when they got back down here later, they fell through it. That tends to happen. Meanwhile, I put in an order to go short up at 562.53. And as you know, they never got that high. So I'll just scrub ahead here and show you what I did when they got below this 560.36, which is about right here. And at some point, don't normally do this, but I just had some good signs that this could be, they were weak and they might fall, and it paid off right there. So I'm short just one contract. And I put a target here that I made it a little bit more realistic when I adjusted my chart and put it right before this gap down at 558. So it was actually $700. However many points that was, pretty decent amount of points for one contract. You see what I did here? I just put a trailer here. And honestly, I don't really care what they're going to do at this point. I could be hands off and just go work on other things, but they fell down through it. And meanwhile, I'm just going to pause this to talk through. I didn't take this trade. You see there's nothing going on here, but I put a line here for my profit target objective just to see what would happen if they made it, and they did. So that's the trade for the day if you chose to take it. And let this run until about noon or so. And then I stopped and packed up and left, and I've been on the road ever since. So that was my trade. So the playing by the rules log, just the one base hit right there. You can read the notes of why the other ones weren't triggered. Just explained that when we looked at the chart, that my trades were same thing. Didn't trigger the first level here at level 5 because of the near miss, but I went short when they got below the level, took 14 points because I got $700 worth of one contract, and then I did not take the gap there at level 4, and of course level 6 was within 30 minutes of the closing bell. So one thing we haven't done in a while is go back from March to current time, March of 2024 to current time, just to kind of compare the playing by the rules with my trades, because that's when I started keeping track of this other log. So let's do that right now. So now you can see on the playing by the rules log, it's filtered 2024, March, April, all the way through August. Every single month is accounted for, and this is the end of the month of August. And so you can see the total days is 114. You can see the profit and loss percentages, the totals, averages, everything compared to my trades, 103 days, but the profit and loss percentages are different, as are the averages and the totals. So just look at this. I think this is kind of significant, because what I'm developing in this course that I know I keep talking about this, but soon, I'm enjoying just providing the levels and showing you guys that they work. But anyway, what I'm trying to convey in this course is that if you are looking for other things, you can take some creative liberties. Kind of what I do here. I'm not always playing by the rules, but I just know the rules work if you're just willing to take simple base hits at each level, if they look right and things are acting correct when price gets to it. Anyway, but not doing that exactly, and maybe squeezing some more points out, you can see you end up getting a little bit more typically, or a lot more, depends. I mentioned something in the email that I sent out this morning, just a little bit of a speculation that if they try for the all-time highs, maybe they'll do it while no one's really looking, like maybe right before the market opens on Tuesday, like in the pre-market at some point. We'll have some trading happening, but the actual official market doesn't open until Tuesday morning. And so what if they do something while we're sleeping? They gap above this important area they've been consolidating under for a long time. Who knows? Just saying this, but I'm just going to show you kind of what I predicted on this. And I mean, I probably shouldn't even say it, because they could just fall out of bed completely, but they couldn't make it today. And it's the end of the month, end of the week, and we'll see what happens next week. They're trying to make a decision. But in any case, have a good 3-day weekend. Holiday is on Monday. Won't see you until Tuesday morning. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.